Happy Friday. Why does
Happy
it
Friday,
feel
everyone.
like it's been a month since the last time we talked, but we only missed one show?
I know. We only missed one show. It's probably because there's so much that happened in
A whole conference.
Halloween. Wire Live.
Let me tell you, Halloween felt like 3 days in one day at the King House because
there you go.
kids dress up for school. And then after school, that day, Palmer's class also went on a field trip.
Okay.
And then you come home and you have like your afternoon, but then you have to gear up right when you're usually about to be doing bedtime. You're gearing up to go outside and like deal with
for
like,
another 2 hours. Yeah. And then like when it's time for bedtime, you're like, oh, okay, you have been eating at least 3 pieces of candy. And that's 3 more than normal.
Oh, yes.
At this time, at least.
Oh
man, I feel that. And like another thing, I'll go on my daylight savings rant early.
Ooh.
So
we love a good rant.
Okay, nothing changes for yourself and me. Definitely nothing changes for me. So for those who don't know, I am tuning in from the great state of Arizona, and Arizona does not do daylight savings times.
Oh, snap.
But things like Riff and Refine and everything else now are an hour later for me. My normal weekly meetings,
right?
Like it just changes, but nothing really changes. But it changes at the same time,
right?
And so I don't know which one's better for everyone else to not do daylight savings or for us to like just do it.
Oh man, that is wild. I wish nobody did it. Okay,
I wish nobody did.
Still get really like what time does it get dark for you?
It gets dark around like by 7 it is dark. By 7 p.m. it is dark.
Yes. So daylight savings time is in fact what makes it awful. It gets dark at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And when it gets dark at 5 o'clock with small children, nights feel like eternity because like you can't go outside and entertain them. You can't like eat dinner and then play some more. It's like, nope, you got to eat dinner. Then you got to somehow like, even though it's pitch black outside, it's not time to get in bed yet. And you've got to like entertain kids for months until you're no longer dealing with 5 o'clock nighttime.
Somehow figure things out. Yeah. And that's like, oh yeah, what happened? Then when you need to go to bed, like when in the summer, when it's not dark yet, then everyone's like all thrown off because it's like, okay, well, should I go to bed when it's dark or should I go to bed when it's light? Like, I don't know.
Anyway, it's awful and I hate it. Josh, you had a lot go on last week. Why don't we just start with like, you don't have to dive into everything about the conference because we'll just make that a whole topic. But is there any like other updates on the surface? Yeah.
First of all, okay, we got some people in the chat, so glad to have you here, Michael. I love daylight savings time for the summer holidays. Your days last longer, and you can enjoy full days rather than cutting it short at 6 p.m.
That's true. I do love in summer how it lasts, like it is like almost 8 o'clock before the sun goes down.
Well, see, but like we don't do daylight savings time, and it's 8 o'clock before the sun goes down in Arizona too.
Maybe it's the reverse of that.
I don't know.
Is daylight saving time from September to what, like the winter time is daylight saving, or is summer the daylight savings time? I don't know. But whichever one where it gets dark early, let's get rid of that one.
Yeah, get rid of that one. That's probably the winter one. And I'm fine. Then we'll stay on Pacific time in Arizona. And then I'm always East Pacific time. But half the year, summer we're on Pacific time. Now we are on Denver time, Colorado time. taste is the topic of the week, apparently.
In chat. Jason is
and Jason Beggs. And Jason, part of the topic that we put in is your blog post. So like, yes, there you go.
Also,
shout out.
Also, as long as some of the taste that we're talking about is the taste of like some good smoked meat.
Ooh.
We need Sam. We need Sam.
I thought you were going to say the taste of Jason Beggs. There you go. Derek, grab some taste. I'm here for this. There we go.
So, Derek, the new profile pic, actually seeing your face and not the cartoon of your face.
Looking good. Yeah. Anyone else in the chat? Daylight savings time, yay, nay? So far, like I've heard only few people say yay, but let us know. But yeah, my last week was crazy. Other than Halloween, which was a whole thing of itself.
Right.
The week before that, or the week of Halloween, was Wire Live, and I'll share a little bit more later. But it was so much fun. The cool thing that I wanted to share with you, Will, I texted you about this, but being able to share it with everyone is really cool. I have come to the realization that just because of the nature of me putting out videos and being like on the Laravel.com website, I get noticed. I'm okay with that.
Sure. Yep.
But this was the first time. It was really cool. Someone came up to me. He's like, "You're Josh, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me."
Yeah. Oh yeah, my YouTube channel? No.
They said no, Josh from the Riff and Refine show. And I was like, I was taken aback. This is in front of Caleb Porzio. Like we were just starting like the night conference kind of thing. And I was like, we've made it, Will.
That's awesome. I cannot believe that somebody of all the things for you to get recognized, that is wild to me.
And I think that I apologize if this person is listening or going to watch this later, but they said they've only been able to watch maybe one or two shows, and they every now and then get to catch up on some of the lives and stuff like that. But it's crazy. That's where someone recognized me. I love it.
We love that. Also, yes, Derek, if the wife agrees, it is always a good decision. Also, shout out to Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks for the sub. Man. Derek is awesome.
Guitar too. Derek there you go.
At ValioCon.
Ooh.
And Derek, he runs. I need to look it up because I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head.
Emmett, you're only 11 minutes late. We're just getting started on this week, last week, this week, I should say. Last week version of this week. But yeah, we just said, Emmett, that someone recognized me at Wire Live.
There it is.
But
he runs remote jobs in Daily UI.
Oh, there you go. And Daily UI, baby.
He says,
I love Daily UI.
Eric, remind me what the phrase was again. It was always be scamming, I think is what he calls it. Always be scamming was what he kept saying.
And other scams, yeah.
And other scams.
Insert Spider-Man gift for Derek v. Derek.
Derek, that is so true. How many Dereks can we get on here? We need to message Derek Briggs.
All you need to start recruiting.
Yeah.
But that was first off, that kicked off the week, the Wire Live conference, right? Because I was like, hey, someone recognized me from something that is not, I would say, is a first look into my life in a lot of ways. So it made me really happy. I texted Will that night and I was like, hey, this was fun.
That is awesome.
So we've made it. We can start getting sponsors now.
I can't wait for somebody to be like, oh, you're Josh from the Daily Notes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, you're that Josh. That's why I was saying, I think I made a joke to Caleb. It's like, oh, if you're going up to Caleb Porzio, like, Caleb Porzio from Notes on Work?
Yeah. I feel like if you're Caleb and somebody comes up to you and you're like, oh, you're Caleb from Notes on Work, immediately you're like, oh no, which part of Notes on Work do they know me from?
What did you find?
So the most random of things on there.
Oh yeah, the tea episode, that was my favorite. That was a good one.
Oh.
But yeah, overall, and I'll share more about my specific talk in the conference, but overall it was a blast at Wire Live. There was about 120 people, so not big, but not small. Yeah. First year conference, kind of
last minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of thrown together last minute, but in a good way. Because I was telling a bunch of people, I've only seen pictures and heard stories of the first Laracons and the first conferences of stuff like Commit Your Code.
Right.
And I've seen all that. And it felt like one of those where it was everyone loved being there. We had a whole hackathon day where Caleb and other people just kind of went to different tables being like, hey, what you working on? You need any help? some people shipped their first Laravel projects like at the hackathon day, like never built anything in Laravel. Some people, it was their first Laravel conference ever that they were attended because it was just closest to them and they had never been to one before.
Yeah, like the price wasn't crazy and it was close. That's really interesting. What a fun one to go to, because I know that Caleb and the Thunk Boys made sure it was a good time in like a very like rebellious kind of way. If knowing them to be correct, it is not like they went against some of the conference norms on purpose at times, I imagine.
It was fun. So I'll say like 3 against the conference norms, which was, well, this conference shirt was great. I think some of you, we might be able to like link it in the chat. I was going to wear it, but I wore it like all last week. I was all this past week, I should say. A fantastic conference shirt, looked nice. We did bowling in a rage room. I smashed some things
with you and Ian, I think.
Yeah. Me and Shane Rosenthal.
Yes.
Yeah, native PHP Shane. I did not fight Ian Landsman, but I did. I did convince him to start letting. I did convince him to reship, redo Laravel new to do outro.
The one who made him do it a third time?
I was chatting with him. I was like, you might as well like just redo it, right?
And he was like, sure, I love Laravel.
Yeah. I don't think I convinced him, but I gave him some motivation to do it.
That's so funny.
But yeah, Ian was there. Adam Wathen was there. Jonathan Renink from Inertia was there.
Yeah.
Bunch of Canadian people. And Blue Jays were in the World Series. So like it was a fun time. It was a fun time. Another one against the conference norm was if anyone started to go, we only had set time. So like some speakers had 20 minutes, some had 10 minutes. We had a timer in the front row, which believe it or not, at least most of the conferences that I spoke at, you don't actually necessarily have a timer in front of you to know how long you have been going. No. So that was great.
It's all just like keeping it up.
Yeah, you're just guessing kind of thing. I
put a timer myself, but
you
don't have one.
Same. But this one, they if you once you got to your time, they did an air horn so they let you know, hey, this is gonna get a little uncomfortable. Like you're done with your time. You can keep going. But
just know everyone also knows you're over time now.
Yeah. It reminded me of I don't watch it much, but I have seen a lot of clips on the Kill Tony comedy show. And he does the same thing where it's like you have a minute to do your spiel at like 50 seconds or something like that. You hear a little cat meow. At 60 seconds, you hear an air horn. And you're done. Dude. So it was fun. It was fun.
That is super fun.
What about you? What was your last 2 weeks, I guess?
Last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Last 2 weeks. Honestly, it's just been a bunch of work. I've been thinking about, like, I have been so off the internet lately. And I've just not been very,
it's been out of the loop.
Yeah, I've felt very out of the loop. We've got like our big, what's funny working at like a big company is we have code freezes.
Okay.
On holidays where it's like, hey, we're nobody in the entire company is allowed to ship any code over like Thanksgiving holiday for the whole week. And like the same with Christmas. Like once you get close enough to Christmas holiday towards the end of the year, no more shipping any code at all. And so like we are in the process of trying to launch our product.
No.
And that means that there is only next week is the last week that features can get shipped that will make it to production before the code freeze. And then after Thanksgiving, there's only, I think, 1 or 2 weeks max where like code can get shipped that will make it to production. So it's like we've really only got 3 weeks before we are supposed to be done with the next iteration of our like Postgres product.
Okay.
And it's just crazy how we've got like 2 months till the end of the year, but like we've only got 3 weeks to do things. So it's just been like a crazy rush to like wrap things up, get things done. And I think I've written like over 40,000 lines of code. It's insane the amount of code that I've shipped lately. And it's just felt like all I've done is code.
All handcrafted?
All not handcrafted. and I will talk more about that later.
Ooh, okay. I'm down for that.
So, let's dig into your talk. How did it go?
Yeah. So let's jump in. It was really cool. So the majority of my talk, and I think for those in the chat or even just curious, I'm probably gonna I know that the talks were recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And so Caleb or whoever he's hiring to do that is kind of putting them together. And so they'll probably be up in the next couple of weeks, I imagine. But it was really cool because I did a talk that I wanted to be like a half soft skill type talk,
right?
Inspirational, half technical talk, and mostly see you, Jason. Have a great one. It mostly came from like this.
Later.
It mostly came from this like inspiration where I'm like, okay. A lot of people usually ask me, one, how do you find the time to just learn a whole bunch of weird things? Like,
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you work at Laravel and like you have a specific job. So like, why are you trying to learn Remix or TanStack, whatever, that kind of thing?
Right.
Or just like, how do you have the time to do it? One, and then two, I wanted to also just completely build something crazy in Livewire.
Man, we love
because it's a Livewire conference.
Also, thanks, Josh. That's really kind of you. We do look really good, don't we?
There you go. I appreciate it, Josh. Right back at you, Josh to Josh.
Josh.
And so I think I had kind of teased this a couple of weeks ago, but I've always had this in my mind ever since I looked at this project called TanStack DB. For those who aren't familiar with it, same Tanner Lindsley who built TanStack, Query, TanStack, Start, all of those things. He made like this local first, basically like an index DB wrapper,
right?
That you could hook into within your React code and basically make local first projects.
Gotcha.
And so this whole process of what is local first and how do you do that within a Laravel application, specifically with Livewire, because that's usually like the stack that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just like went down this rabbit hole of
a good rabbit hole.
The question was, what if I didn't want to change anything of my code? And this is a question I posed to myself like months ago.
Okay.
I kind of had these two trains of thought of like, I could either build something kind of cool, like, hey, you flip a switch and now you have web transitions on your whole Livewire app. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if I went crazier? And I said, you added one trait to your Livewire class and it converts everything to local first and syncs it up later. So you don't change anything of how you write your code, your Livewire code.
It just automatically knows what to do.
Just automatically knows what to do. That was the initial thought.
Okay.
And of course, as you might think, as I started digging into this, I was like, okay.
The initial plan didn't quite go that way.
This is complicated.
Yeah.
Because in order to be local first, you need to be writing Alpine or just plain JavaScript, I guess.
Oh, right.
So now your blade components need to be converted before they're actually rendered by Livewire.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew in my mind, okay, if I was wanting to do local first, I knew how I would convert manually a Livewire component to local first. I would, maybe have a polling or like reverb in the background that syncs it up to the Livewire methods, and you write it all in Alpine. Okay. But what if you wanted to do it automatically?
Yeah.
And so the whole talk was like going down this rabbit hole of like most of the things that we have today in the developer world, but even also outside of it, like think in 1903, two brothers were just like, hey, we have this like gas engine. Why don't we strap this to a bunch of wood? And one of us gets in it and we push the other one off the cliff. See if like we can live.
Yeah.
It's like this, I called it the edge of nonsense talk.
Which is 100% what the Wright brothers did.
Oh yeah.
100%.
No, that just doesn't make any sense.
No.
And so I said, I did the same thing with like, and it was cool having Adam Wathen and Jonathan Rennick in the room because I was like, okay, they both had the same kind of questions. Same thing with like Caleb Porzio making Livewire. Like, okay, what if you didn't have to write JavaScript and you could still write a front end in PHP?
Right.
Or what if all of your styles just existed in your HTML? and now we just accept that as
yeah. What's
true.
so interesting about this one to me is I think most sync engines, like most syncing, like local storage sync, is generally thought of as like you're not even syncing it on the server. So like the interesting thing is like most sync engines deal with like React or some sort of client library where the templating happens in the client.
Yep.
But the thing about Livewire is like all the templating is sent over the wire. So that I can like, I'm just like immediately like, oh, that makes this local data issue very interesting to me.
Makes it a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like when I was doing it, I was initially thinking, okay, it's still a good process. And I wanted to just then walk people through. This is what I started digging into. What is IndexedDB? Up until I started looking into, TanStackDB, I thought IndexedDB was just another layer on top of like local storage.
Right.
I didn't know that it was like, oh, this is a whole database. It just lives in your browser.
Yeah.
I didn't know what, I didn't know a lot about the blade rendering system. So it's like all these things that I learned about in the process of trying to figure this out.
Best part of it. That is like my favorite part of trying, like what you said about the edge of nonsense. The funnest part of doing something that seems like nonsense is like to make nonsense become a reality. You have to learn all of the details about how something's done.
Yep.
And that is where, that is like the part of it I just love.
So this is the result.
All right, let's see it.
Plop this up. See what it looks like.
All right.
So I had all that in my head. And then I was initially just going to be like, I was going to show off this really cool demo on stage. And then I was going to be like, oh yeah, this is all just like hand coded. And I was going to kind of make this little joke of like, you think that this works, but it's just, I'm just faking it out kind of thing.
Right.
But then on the airplane, I like got this second thought of like, actually, I'm doing everything wrong in how I'm trying to convert everything. That was the hard process.
Okay.
Of converting Livewire to Alpine is a lot harder than it needs to be because you have to all these edge cases of like components. And so I was like literally trying to be like, oh, okay, if it's wire submit a bunch of regex to then change that into like X data and take all the Livewire parameters, push it in.
Right.
But then on the plane, something between myself and ChatGPT, I was like, okay, anything that we're interacting with IndexedDB, essentially you are going to be doing on the server with Livewire methods. And most of the time you're interacting with the database within Eloquent. So what if instead of trying to convert all the templating, all I need to do is just figure out what goes into an Eloquent query. If I'm adding a to-do, I don't need to like try to
for IndexedDB.
Yeah, I just need to dump all the SQL queries, and then I can reference. Oh, this is a add. This is a delete. This is a patch. Whatever that is, and then that's easier to transition into Alpine.
Oh yeah.
So here's a cool thing. This is a to do. It works. Let me actually pull open into Duo demo. Let me pull this open. We'll pull it up the to-do list. Okay, so let's remove this.
All right, real quick, before you dive in, I want to know in chat, how many people of you have your file tree on the right versus your file tree on the left? My file tree's on the left, and I saw that, and like it's so funny how like you do something a different way, and suddenly your brain stops working for a second. I saw that, and I was like, "What's happening? Why are there files over there?"
And so my whole question was like, I just want to add one little parameter. I just want to say this is local first, and I want to add something like this to a Livewire method. And have everything that I normally write Livewire, like public strings, create a to-do, it has validation. I'm deleting something with with a model, route model binding. I have computed properties that I have. I want all of this. I don't want to touch anything to make this work. And so I started with, well, first we need a specific model. And I want to know that this model is probably going to have to work with index B. So I have this syncable method that says anytime we run and build steps. So this is where I got to also play around with a Vite plugin.
Okay.
And I learned how crazy Vite plugins are.
Dude, Vite plugins are sick.
Like with a Vite plugin, I can pass it a specific parameters. And then anytime something changes in these things, it reruns a PHP artisan command in Vite. That's crazy.
That is wild.
I learned it mostly from Wayfinder, which is one of the Laravel Vite plugins. But anyways, we have this syncable to do. All I wanted was this to-do list to change. So if we like right now, we'll refresh this. This is fully Livewire.
Okay.
We'll see like here, new to do. That is an update, a Livewire method. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and add this back. This is use with Duo. I'm going to refresh this again just for sake. And now if I click new to do, well, now we have this little to do's fetch method here.
Okay.
That is actually adding things to an IndexedDB and then calling Livewire to update the server.
Right.
So if everything works as you expect, you delete things, that kind of thing. Yep. If I go ahead and throttle this, let's go to the 3G. Okay, we're throttling 3G. You would expect within Livewire, this would be slow. Because unless you're doing optimistic UI, it needs to
wait for the entire request cycle just to do some UI updates.
Yep. So we added it directly to here. We can pop this open too.
Yeah.
We'll delete a couple things. They're all pending deletes. They're in IndexedDB, but we have to wait for those to actually sync on the server. So now we only have one to do left.
So cool.
Another one.
And so what's visualization for this, for your talk, I bet landed so well.
I'm sad I didn't have this, but I did have this offline like component.
Right.
Because there was a couple things there's a couple things that I was like, this is one that I think AI helped with building a package. Right. I wanted a component because usually if you're doing offline first, if I'm thinking of this from like a user standpoint, most of them are probably going to want a component that says, hey, we're syncing changes. You're offline. Be careful.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, okay, everything still works. But as soon as you go back online, then it starts syncing those changes.
Have everything process and send
to
the server.
And also debug modes. Like a debug component is so easy to make within like AI.
Like there is nothing better. Like debug components and like configuration panels just for during development are just like chef's kiss. Like so much fun. Like if you're doing any type of like honestly any type of development, but especially when you're starting to mess with like visuals and you're not sure what you want the end result to like look like and it's dynamic, man, throw yourself a couple of like sliders and options on there that you can tweak live while you're looking at the visual, and it just makes like an absolute world of difference. All right, I'm turning chat on for a second before you keep going, because we've got quite a few people who are like, we've got people who have it on the left, which I love because hello,
there you go.
That's what I do. But
right is so much
this
better.
One on the right all the way, so the code doesn't move when toggling the sidebar. That is a very good reason to do it. It doesn't bother me, but I could see it. This one got me though, Derek. File tree on the right in cursor because chat and agent list is on the left. My chat and agent list is on the right, and it just is by default. So like,
I'm with Derek.
It to be on the left, and I was just like, wait a second, your reasoning is because you use cursor. I'm like, I use cursor, and I think it's just like crazy how configurable all the IDEs are and everything. Also, shout out to Riley.
Riley, what's up? How's it going?
Dope brand designer. He lives in Tennessee, and he's a sick designer.
I love it. I feel like I've been following Riley for a little bit. I could be wrong. Could be a different Riley. I apologize. The cool thing is, so I had most of it like working for the actual demo on stage. I've since updated it a lot, like what you just saw, but I had most of it working for the demo so that I could just show it off. Whereas like, okay, it kind of works, but like if you change and this is like not a to-do list anymore, then it breaks. Now it's like 90% there. It's actually live right now on Josh Series /Duo.
All right.
In
So
its current form.
I understand this. Let me see if I get this right.
Go for it.
So the idea of this is that it knows how to process Livewire actions and store them in IndexedDB so that they can be run whether you're online or not.
Yep. It knows how to process your whole component on render to a Alpine local first component and has JavaScript hooks in the background to sync with those Livewire methods to the server.
Nice. That's so sick.
During the hackathon, this was something I deployed to Laravel Cloud, and it's pretty pathetic style-wise, but it works. We're still on 3G, and that pushes through. But the thing I wanted to do that I hacked on that I kind of broke now, but it's kind of cool to show, is I still have to figure out how this works now. Because I changed like the parser engine and stuff like that.
Right.
But if you go offline, I wanted, what would happen if I refresh? Well, it's broken because it's offline.
Correct.
I refreshed.
And it's
I basically figured out a way to use workers to save a state of when you last were logged in.
Because you have all of the component data.
Yep. I have all the component data, have all the JavaScript. So this it still works. It doesn't sync, but it still works.
Right.
Because it's just JavaScript, just HTML.
That's so stupid.
But so like
that's awesome.
It's not going to sync this when you go back online. Yeah, actually, it might. I can't remember. Refresh. Oh, it does. It does sync it.
All right, Josh. What font is being used?
Ooh, there we go. This is Dank Mono font.
Dank. I used Dank for a little bit. What a funny font.
Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Dank Mono for the font family and also for everything, all the UI. I love the same font.
Changing the UI font. Huh. I should play around with that. That's dank. Nice. Well, okay, awesome. So how did the conference land? Like when you finished your talk, how did people react?
So that was the crazy thing. Because again, I had just built this mostly to scratch my own itch of thinking, hey, this would be a really cool conference talk, but like it's not applicable, and it's probably not scalable. That was my initial thought. Literally, and I gave this warning as I was talking. I probably should have been more confident, but as I was talking, I was like, this is just extremely like demo stuff that I'm like portraying. But literally every single person was like, hey, when are you like shipping that? It'd be so cool to like play around with it. Yes. Caleb was like, hey, like you're shipping like a version today, like, right? You're tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
So it was cool to get that kind of feedback. And also just like from me personally, like it helped. I don't know, like maybe, I don't know, like imposter syndrome type stuff where it's like, okay, I can build stuff, but it's cool to build something useful.
I was going to poke on that because I was like, this feels like a different approach than what you usually do. So like you and me are very similar to where you and me are very much project guys.
Yeah.
We love a good project and we love to figure out how to make a project a reality. What we don't usually do is then also make tools.
Yep.
And I think there's like a completely different mindset that goes behind being a tool maker and being a project maker. And I don't know about you, but like sometimes I feel like being a tool maker seems like so much harder than being a project maker in my mind. Like
it 100% is.
But then there's like people who make tools and they're like, oh no, this is so much easier. Like I couldn't come up with all the crazy ideas that like project people come up with. So it's like there's like definitely imposter syndrome on both sides. But I was like listening to this and I was like, this is a new thing. This is new for Josh. How's it feel, man? Like full on tool. Like people are like, I want to use this. And now you've got to like think, well, how do I make this broadly? Like, how do I make this work in a bunch of different cases versus like my very specific idea I had in my mind?
That's honestly been the fun part so far, is like kind of like what you're saying. Like with projects, it's very easy to be like, okay, I have this end result.
Yeah.
And it just needs to work for what the end result is.
Right.
Within the tool, yes, it's been fun to like, okay, I didn't know that I could actually spin up a worker in just like a Laravel application. I can spin up workers without having to like have this. I thought someone would have to install my package and then work through and do like a bunch of worker setup within JavaScript. My worker that I had for that thing is just like a route in PHP. It's crazy that it works like that. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about IndexedDB. So like, I think all like the learnings is fun.
New videos for the Josh Siri YouTube channel.
100%. I think all the learnings are fun, but like the fun part actually for me is thinking of like, okay, wait, if someone wants to figure out what's happening behind the scenes, maybe we should have like a debug component or the sync component. Like it's fun thinking from like a custom.
Like, how will this make a better developer experience? Uh-oh. Is it me? Is it you?
I'm back.
All right, we're back.
There we go.
But yes.
But yeah.
So cool. And it's awesome trying to put yourself in a different perspective of like, how can I help people trying to use this use it better than instead of like, how can I make the coolest, very constrained thing ever?
100%. It was a fun process, and I'm like loving working on something that's not a demo. If that makes sense too. Like that's fun.
Absolutely. Like something that you're like, oh, if this is going to be a reality, it needs to be like production ready.
Yeah. For developers is fun too.
Yeah. It's funny when we listen, I like listening to Caleb's notes on work where he talks about that, where he talks about like, yeah, like this wasn't it was a very brittle solution at first, but just because it had to exist and get used by so many people over a period of time, like this is like, there are parts of his app that are just like, this is so solid because we have run into every possible bug and edge case that you could possibly run into. And it's like, yes, the code gets a little nastier as you start running into those, but it's also like extremely stable. And it's like, why like you can't just come in and replace any old library, because yes, like it may be more complicated for your specific scenario, but as soon as any of the factors change in your project, but like you've now got to account for that in like the project, like the library that's being used. Yeah. And so it's just like time spent in market applies to more than products. It also applies to like libraries in terms of stability. So
yeah.
Awesome. All right. I want to know, what was your favorite talk at the conference?
Ooh. Outside of Caleb's Livewire 4 talk, which was basically just showing a lot of some of the new things within Livewire 4 and just things that he thought through to build it. So that was cool. I honestly really loved Mary Perry had a great talk basically about like,
Mary is very, very good at coming up with talks.
She's very good at coming up with very technical talks.
Yes.
Talks that I'm like, most of the stuff I didn't actually know. She basically talked about what is the life cycle of a Livewire component. Mm-hmm. What actually all happens underneath the hood. Right. And some of her, and I thought she was like using Excalibur. Oh yeah.
Like
100%.
She can show up to any conference on any language and have a talk ready because like she's like an anthropologist. Like she'll just like dig up the remains of whatever the library is that the conference is about and just tell you more than you knew about it, having used it way longer than she has.
Exactly. I was already deep in the weeds to try to figure out all this. Okay, when should I convert it to Alpine? Should I do it in Livewire, Blade? Like, where in the life cycle? And I still didn't know some of the stuff she did. So she had a great talk, and it's like fun to keep engaged. And I was telling her as well, it's like awesome to see people who, she gave her first talk this year. I'm pretty sure last year, maybe at a smaller conference.
I think it was last year.
Yeah, okay, it was last year. But like now she has like 6 or 7 talks under her belt, and she just like improves, gets better.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's fun to see that.
It is. It's really fun to see somebody like try something new that they don't know if they're going to be at. And then it turns out to be like, hey, that was what I should have been doing all along. Like, congratulations, you have found your purpose. Also,
that's awesome.
We're not almost over. Although it is, as always, it is Family Friday. So we will have a cutoff time. But any other things you want to share about the conference before I dive in?
I don't think so. That was a good segment. Cool. Good half the show.
All right. I have one topic today. Only one, because I wanted to make space for as much Livewire, wire.live, wire:live, whatever conference that we could. But here's my topic. This week, I had a tweet where I was just like, I now have some very strong opinions about AI as it relates to big companies.
Ooh, okay.
I didn't say anything else other than that, and everyone was like, and what are those opinions? And I was like, it's too much. You just come to the show on Friday and I'll yap about it there.
Love a good yap.
And it's like, and somebody was like, wow, opinions on AI, real original. And I was like, yep, just a trailblazer over here. And I think the reason why I'm so behind is that I'm not a hype guy, I use AI a lot, and I am happy to show you how I used AI. That's a lot of my conference talks were hey, here's an example of how I used AI to make this work, or how I used it to make this happen. And I showed a actual demo of using AI for a workflow for our podcast at one of the conferences. To me, that's completely different than having some broad opinion on AI. That's hey, here's boots on the ground.
Yeah.
I prefer to do that. And I prefer to hold off on opinions on how a tool should be used until I've done it for a while or observed it for a while. And I've now been at Snowflake long enough and observed Snowflake long enough in their use of AI to have some pretty strong opinions about AI usage in something that scale. And here are my opinions. I should have made a diagram, because it's basically there's concentric rings.
Okay.
Think about it like this. There's a little circle, then there's bigger circles as it goes out. And Snowflake's off in San Francisco in Menlo Park. Is that what you're talking about? I'm gonna assume it's in Menlo Park, because I think you just moved to California, and that's the only office that I know of in California. But think of it as concentric rings, and in the very middle is architectural decision making.
Okay.
And then maybe the layer outside of that is pattern decision making. And then the layer outside of that is feature work.
Okay.
And the further outside the layers you go, the more AI you should be relying on to get your job done. But the further inside the layers you go, the less, not that you shouldn't be using AI, but you should be relying more on your own decision making, your own experience. You should have more senior people who can come up with patterns, architectural decision making. And I when you're making those types of decisions, it is very good to use AI to test those ideas, and to kind of try to steel man your ideas to where it's hey, this is the idea, what are the pros and cons? You can do that. But when you're actually writing the stuff, you should be doing a lot more of that very carefully, with a lot of human thought into how it's set up. Because at a big company, whatever decisions you make at a certain layer spread like immediately across a ton of teams.
Yeah.
And that is like both a good thing and a bad thing because it allows people to move quickly. And like, if you can get the right patterns and the right like components and the right architectures in place, then like I said, when you're on the outer edges, like people doing feature work can move so fast. Like when I said I've shipped like over
40,000,
like tons of code, like absolutely like unreasonable amounts of code. I'm pretty sure I've shipped more in the past couple months than I have in like the past year before this. Because like there's a really good component library and there are some extremely like well thought out patterns by like senior level team members. And then also like when we start writing our own features and our own like our own architecture for like the architectural decisions for our thing, like the sooner you can nail down the patterns and have them like be patterns that are like reusable, the faster you can do your job. Whereas like before it was like, I used to have like a very different approach to this, which was like, you shouldn't try to make patterns too soon, which like is still true. But like the calculus used to be like, well, don't do it till it hurts.
Yeah.
Because like you may not, it'll be more painful to try and change these patterns everywhere if they're wrong.
Okay.
But like that dynamic's changed because like you can change things so much faster now with AI. But if you don't have consistent patterns, then like AI can't help you as much.
Yeah.
So like I can ship a feature, like a full feature, front end, back end, everything in between in like a day.
Yeah.
And it's all because like I've now got the prompts down pat, because it's like, hey, here is like the way that like Snowflake works is like, instead of like a REST API, it's like a SQL query.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, here's the SQL query. Here is a reference to this other feature for like the different layers that you need to implement. And then here's like another reference to the here are the components that need to make this up. And like you just give it all of that and it churns it out because it can reference so much so many patterns already inside of the data, like inside the code base, because time was spent nailing those patterns. And like the problem, like the reason why like I think that AI should be used less, the further in, is that like there have been some times where something's been wrong with and like humans can make decision making wrong, but like you've got very senior people in these positions, and if like you're not leveraging past experience and you're just leveraging AI and you get like one small thing right in like a very core part of these like these very reusable patterns and architectures, like it is like a cascading effect of like error and bad things. But like when you're on the edges, like you should be over indexing on like how much AI you're using. So like that is like the strong opinion is like, in a big company, if you can nail that core, then you can empower everyone to like move extremely quickly with AI.
Yeah.
But if you don't nail that core, then like it doesn't matter how much AI you use, like it's not going to be very effective.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think I agree, because I think one of the things that I've learned through using AI, and like I feel in a weird spot because most of my development journey has been using AI, even just as like a rubber ducky, because I think at least in full stack applications,
right?
With specifically with Laravel, like the first Laravel project I ever built, I don't think I've ever built a project without the help of AI, at least from like a rubber ducky. Let me chat with you and let's talk through like why this isn't working together. And I think it's taught me that the important piece is, one, you have to understand, like I think you should use AI to write the code that it would take you 3 weeks to write.
Right.
But you could write it
Right.
all by hand.
Right.
A handcrafted artisanal. Or you also can use it for a lot of stuff that I did, like with Duo. I knew what all the pieces to put together needed to be, and I knew where to find the documentation, and I gave it all to AI, and I was basically like, okay, where do I start? Like,
Right.
what's the process?
Like
and
doing like like using AI to do a bunch of throwaway concepts to try to get a feel for how it actually works.
Yep. I can't remember who I heard
crafting the final API.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember who I heard say this, or maybe you said it too. But like, one of the things that I've learned how to build things with AI is, like, I'll ask AI to build it and then I'll scrap it and you build it by hand.
Yes.
And you learn so much.
Oh.
And then you could ask AI to improve it. But like that premise is so important.
I do that with like a lot of stuff. Like even before AI, that's how I would do a lot of my work, was just like build this, not worried about it being something that's ready for production. Just build something that gets the job done so that you understand like the full path from A to Z. Because once you see the full path from A to Z, you'll now realize, oh, I could have skipped letters like H through J and like done like a much better way of doing it. Like build in. The best thing about AI is like it lets you do that process. That used to be such a slow process to try to like build things multiple times like by hand. So now it's just like that has always been the best process, and I think people skipped kind of doing that process because it was like, oh well, this will just take too long, so let me just build the final version now. And they might know that there are some warts in it, but they're like, I don't want to have to like rebuild this thing again, so they just ship it. But now like there's no excuse to have warts on any feature, because like you can scrap things so quickly and like restart so fast. Maybe Laravel new is not such a bad thing. You know, like maybe it's okay to Laravel new a few times to just nail it. Dude.
Dylan. Oh, I clicked the same way you did. Dylan.
Time. What's up, Dylan?
Glad to have you here.
Mr. Cloudflare himself.
Yeah, I know.
I've heard you're really good at video games from your wife.
Orange is the new black. I saw that comment and I laughed when I saw that around Cloudflare stuff.
So funny. Dylan, are you going to be at React Miami this year? I know you were there last year because you were speaking, but
I am not.
Even if you're not, you should be at React Miami, because I'm going to try and be again. We need to hang.
But yeah, it's interesting because I think
Dylan,
the thing with building it is you also have to know, kind of like what you said, you learned what the prompts were good for your specific code base, because you know when it's going to mostly fail and you can kind of prompt around it. If I was trying to build the same project, mostly because I haven't built too much frequently in something like a Next.js right now, I would probably be so slow in AI, or it would just be like crap code because I haven't built in it. I know how I would do it, and I know how I would like probably prompt it, but I wouldn't be able to say, oh, that was probably not the right way, or I probably should have used server actions here instead of fetch hook or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the what really kind of sent me down this path was it was not Dylan himself, but Dylan and everyone else who was talking about effect in JavaScript land. They're talking about how like effect is like really good with AI, and I was like, why would it's like a pretty new library? Why would effect be like better with AI? And it's like exactly what I mentioned. And what I started like realizing and trying to model with, like, we are like backend at Snowflake, the front end backend. It's so many backends, so many services. But like our like backend layer that glues the front end to the backend services is written in Go. And I modeled like all of our server handling based off of like effects, like dependency model.
Ooh, there you go.
And it just like makes life so much easier. Like that is what makes it so easy to like AI generate tests. It makes it so easy to like AI generate like, hey, listen, like this is the pattern, just copy it. And the consistency across how things are implemented just makes like a huge world of difference.
Yep. If you want to stay on the AI route, I have a good transition to go into like craft and taste.
One's a topic. Is the link quick? Because I want to hear about this topic.
Which one's? Let me take a look at.
The link is the AI art and AI music.
Oh yeah, the link is pretty quick. So link, I'll paste it. We don't even have to like pull it up on screen. But
is this what I think it is?
Yes.
Oh shoot. Yeah, I read through this whole thing and it is so good.
It's so good. Because now I want to talk about, okay, if you've nailed what AI looks like in a big company, I think I have a pretty hot take, spicy take on how that is not any different with AI art and AI music. Because I think you could probably talk more about the art because I think you are just a generally better
Sure. But you're the
designer.
music.
I love music.
All right.
And I think we're both artisans. We're both crafters.
Like we're both people
creators.
who enjoy creating things that are new.
Yeah.
But we're also not afraid of technology.
Exactly.
What you got on your mind?
When I was like reading through this oatmeal comic, which I think is good, but the one caveat I will have is I think the place within AI for creation of art and music is underrated when it comes to that first MVP.
Yes.
Because if we're talking about code, just like you said, you could have it. I want 5 different versions, and then I'm going to pick which one, and then I'm going to trash it, and I'm going to start over again.
Yes.
But I don't think, and this could be, I think people in the music world are slowly starting to lean into this, but I think in the art design world, there's like, why would I ask ChatGPT to give me, just a mock-up when I know what mock-up I want in my head? Right. But I think there's benefit to having like, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
You have your own taste, but I think there's benefit in seeing other tastes to make sure your taste is what you want.
Gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. Here's like the way that I think about it is like taste is like your ability to like identify something that is good. And to me, the way I view AI is it's just giving me a larger surface area to try and filter. Because like you may have really good taste, but if you never see one of the options that you might have chosen as like the best direction, then you may not have come up with the best thing.
You might not come up with your best taste.
Design and art and music, it's all about iteration. Like it's always about like the more versions of something you do, the better chance you have of finding the best version of something. But like eventually, because of like natural constraints, like you can't make one song forever.
Yep.
You have to you have to release it eventually. So like to me, AI is just a tool for like creating so many more possible iterations to find what I've decided is the best like direction. And in the same way with like art and music, I love using, especially with like AI, like I love using AI to explore like what is possible and trying a bunch of different stuff. But then when it comes down to like, okay, how can I fine tune this for something to share with people? That those like last little like the fine tuning, the like how do I jump the barrier of like this is an experiment to this is something to share with people for like them to interact with. That last gap is always something that requires like the craftsman touch.
Oh yeah. 100%. And I think like, I don't know if that's ever going to that last touch, because technically even within dev, you still need that last touch, but I think it's shortening in the sense of like, okay, with reviews and testing, it's a little bit easier to get to that.
Well, the last touch there in that case, like unfortunately with a lot of times in code, to me, there's like 2 places for last touches. There is a last touch when it comes to like the interaction. So like it's all about like where the barriers are. So the barrier between the user and the software is the last touch. And the better that AI gets at like the coding side of things, that last barrier of craftsmanship really comes down to the designer. And if the designer can't do a lot of like those detailed UI pieces than like the engineer, or why the rise of like the design engineer is because like it is narrowing in on the point that really matters.
Yep.
And that's like, these pieces are the things that we cannot
replicate
with automated decision making. It requires like gut intuition a lot of times, and like feel. And then the other piece of that is like, then there's like this large gap of stuff, and it's like the libraries. Like it's these architectural decisions, it's the APIs. It's like, what are these like these lines of communication where we're jumping from like one service to another service? Like that's the final craftsmanship touch there, where it's like, okay, we're now making a barrier between two different concepts. Like we need people with gut intuition to maybe be able to make that jump. But like the gulf in between can be 100% like more and more swallowed by like AI.
Yep. 100%. Because I was thinking about this from like that taste perspective. Is I have written a bunch of songs, and in the sense of, so like I wrote songs when I was in high school.
Talk if that gets accepted, because you're gonna help me write a song.
I'm ready for it. I wrote songs in high school. I probably wrote some songs in junior high too. They weren't as good. Some of my better songs were in high school. Some of my better songs were in college. I wrote a song to propose to my wife. I wrote a song for my mom at our wedding. I wrote a song,
dude, that's awesome.
Like for my daughter. And then when AI started coming out, especially like the latest version of Suno, I was more hesitant because it felt like just a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like video generation with Sora, just fun.
Right.
But then I think the taste part within AI driven art for music and like creativity is you have to have that initial prompt taste. You could, for example, you could probably tell AI to make a better picture than I could, because you know exactly what you would want to tell it. Of like, I want this particular style, and I want like, you know, I want it to be this particular gradient. Like you know it's in your head that it can replicate, and then it would iterate on that, and you could iterate on it faster than I could. Within art, within music, I started playing around with having kind of like two fun things. I made like a fun song because my kids love like this little type of like K-pop kind of stuff within like Demon Hunters, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters.
On repeat lately. On repeat. Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to put in a bunch of words that rhyme, give it a style, and now, and my kids' names, and now they have a fun song that they'll always ask to listen. It's fun.
Yes.
But we're going to have a third kid, and this is a surprise, but my wife isn't listening, so we're good. But I'm writing a song for my wife for her 30th birthday next year, kind of about our three kids.
Oh.
And
that's awesome.
I had a melody in my head, but the process usually without AI would be, I have a melody in my head, and then I have to just like, just keep working at it until I get some other type of melody or some other type of words.
Yes.
I sang the melody into Suno.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it the words that I wanted with the melody.
Right.
I used ChatGPT to like just come up with a bunch of different words. I'll iterate on in the next future. But all of a sudden, within like an hour and a half of me then replaying that melody, singing a different melody and based off of like what it gave back to me.
You think of? Yeah.
Yeah. All of a sudden, within an hour and a half, now I have like almost a complete song that I'm going to take, scrap, and record from scratch.
Dude, I love that. Yes. So I think about this a lot. It all comes down to like people who are scared of design because they're scared of like a blank canvas. People are scared of writing because they're scared of the blank page or writer's block or getting to this point. And like the advice has always been just show up and start writing, and eventually things will start clicking. And like, who knows how long that will take, how long like you'll feel uninspired about something. And so like, man, I just love the way that like AI assisted tooling helps with creative work, in the sense that it's like, it's not doing the work for me.
Yep.
But it sure as heck is helping me not get like creatively blocked and helping me keep pushing forward.
That's good.
Until there's like this aha moment with some, like, I may not like all this stuff, but it's helping me like try a bunch of different things that my brain's just refusing to let me. And like the people who are truly the greatest creatives are like people who don't like, who have always been good at that without tools. And so this just like lowers the barrier for people to be able to push that boundary. And hopefully, like what I hope a lot of people do is like, what you should be doing. I think I read, so I opened, we're going to jump into the next topic because we got to wrap up before too long. Thoughts on Taste by Jason Beggs. And this is like what he talks about in this article that you shared. So this article that Jason just threw up real quick is basically like just like a little note where he shared a video by a buddy of mine on Rid. So if y'all don't know who Rid is an incredible designer. He's building a startup called InFlight, but he also runs like a designer podcast called Deep Dive Podcast. And he like does like interviews the best designers, and he has the best questions because he is like one of the most creative people of all time. Such a good designer. And what's crazy about this video, Tommy is the guy who did it. And he's also got this thing about him, which is the people who are truly great look at things that are good and can tell you why it's good or why it's bad. You know, like this ability for you to observe things around you and not just like passively observe them, but to like introspect, why is this good, is like what you're talking about your music, why that music process is so good, because like you're generating these things and you're not just generating them and being like, oh, that's nice, and like you're just, oh, I'll use that. You're like, no, like, okay, do I like this one? No, but I do like this one piece of this. What if I took that one piece of this one and this other piece of like, you're like because there's so many options, like you can listen to them, and because of your experience with music, you have so many more threads to pull and to work with to try to weave together this like final project, this final product from all these options because of your ability to curate like what is good and what is not good about something. And then like you have thoughts on taste and craft here. I want to hear like, why did you add craft into this? Because I don't think craft is necessarily mentioned in this article. What made you think about it?
It made me think about it is kind of the AI music kind of flowing into this in a lot of ways. I think there's that taste aspect that you mentioned. That's like exactly what you said. Like I almost envision, I wonder if this is how people felt like when things like Photoshop or like a Wacom tablet came out or whatever. Okay. And you're like, oh, that's cheating. But no, it's just yeah. It's just a barrier removal for you to continue to work at your craft.
Okay.
And so we're like, that craft piece came in is like, I think taste is a good question of like, okay, why is this good? Why do I like this? How can I explain this to others? I think craft then is honed when you can then iterate on your taste.
Yep.
And craft is also honed when you can explain, and craft is also honed when you can then work with someone on your taste.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know a good way of thinking this from like a design perspective, but like from music, two great songwriters are never going to maybe have the same taste, even if they have the same craft.
Okay.
But two great songwriters who have honed their taste and craft together all of a sudden become a better craft, make better craft, because they know how they would both iterate it on this like little give and take.
Right. Like their ability to like be flexible and like riff, like riffing, jazz, you know, like riffing, jazz and music. The people who like are great at jazz are so great because like they understand music. They understand the craft of creating sound that people like. And like they are able to hear the sound that other people are making and create something that belongs with it.
Yep. And I was thinking about the craft from that standpoint of like, okay, taste is you saying, yes, I know why this is bad, or yes, I know this is good. I feel like craft, and even more so with AI now, is then, well, this is my taste. How can I craft this so that it can be as broad of taste and appealable as possible?
Interesting. Okay.
How can I refine this?
That's not how I
it?
think of craft, but I do like that definition. The way I think of craft is like taste is like I think we both agree on what taste is. Taste is like your ability to like curate what you personally think is good or bad. And sometimes your taste, like you're saying, aligns with other people's taste. Craft to me is like the connection from your taste, like from your brain to your hands.
Interesting. Okay.
Like craft
so
is
before
like,
taste almost.
Maybe like
okay.
Maybe.
Fluid.
I think they are both like they can run parallel. So like craft to me is like your ability to turn something that you're picturing into a reality.
Okay.
Like
I think
you
we're
can
similar.
be somebody who knows if music is good or not, but you may not be able to play an instrument. Okay. Craft is your ability to play an instrument. Your ability to actually create something new. Whereas like taste is just your ability to curate, like your ability to observe and to analyze. But just because you can observe and analyze doesn't mean you can do it.
Okay. So see, that might be where we differ a little bit
of being able to do the thing.
Yeah. So that's why we might differ a little bit, but I think we're kind of saying the same thing. I would say almost, maybe this is a more hard take, is that you can't have craft unless you have taste. Unless you have an opinion on how you want to carry something out, I don't think you can actually carry out.
See, I disagree, because I think you can be really good at using Photoshop, but you might make very technically complicated things.
Okay.
But it may not be anything that people think is good.
Interesting.
But not because you don't know how to use the tool. But if let's say if you work, like this is like classically like what people are like, some people are like extremely good at art direction.
Yeah.
Like some people are like extremely good at saying like, oh, these need to be the colors, this needs to be the composition, but they could not actually turn that into something. But you may work with, like, for instance, Aaron Francis could like have this like really good idea for like a database video. And he could like tell you exactly what it needs to be for people to be like, man, this is a really good video. But he needs an editor to make it a reality, like somebody who knows how to use the video software to bring that to reality. And that video software person by themselves could never have made that video on their own, because they don't have that understanding of like what a good database education video is. But working like, but some people do. Like some people have both.
Yeah.
They have the taste and they have the craft. But to me, the craft is like actually being able to like rubber meets the road. You can bring things into reality. But I like I think there's another concept. I don't know what it's called.
Another word.
I think there's another concept that you're hitting on here that is like the ability for somebody to understand culture. And so it's like taste, like you have personal taste, and then there's like broader appeal.
Crafted taste.
Right. Like what is like somebody who has the ability to not only like recognize when something's good, but recognize what another group of people think is good.
Yeah. I think of it as like a session musician. Session musician is going to be able to come in. They are probably some of the best at their craft.
Yeah.
But I see their taste where usually they're going to be told, hey, this is exactly the notes you're playing. This is the song you're doing.
Sure.
I think
like if they
that you can tell what their taste is, because let's say a jazz saxophone player, let's say jazz pianist versus a rock pianist.
Right.
They could probably play the exact same thing, but their taste is this is the reason why I am doing my craft, and it flows into it, and then it generates it.
Would you maybe?
You're probably going to pick a session that has same taste.
Would you maybe call that the soul?
Soul. Ooh, okay. I see you.
I
could see that.
So taste is like curation, being able to look at things, know whether it's good or bad. Craft is the ability to actually like bring something to reality, and soul is like understanding the emotion that goes to like the why.
Okay. So the soul is the why of the taste.
Yes.
And the fuel for the craft.
Right. Exactly.
I should put that on a t-shirt.
That's why like you can have like really extremely well done software, like things that look really good, but just lands flat. Like nobody picks it up. Nobody cares about it because it and you can tell it has like no soul to it because like the meaning, the emotion behind it makes no sense. Yeah. That's it.
We riffed on it. We refined it.
You got to have all of them together.
You got to put it on a t-shirt. And then that'll be the first Riff and Refine t-shirt. Soul is the why of the taste and the fuel for the craft.
There we go. Love
Get that on. Ooh, a hat. Oh, we love a good hat here.
I don't know if that'll get any better. I think we just need to call it there.
Yeah. That's it.
Nailed it. Best clip ever.
Riff and Refine, end of season 1.
We're done, actually. The show's done. We can't riff any better than that ever again. Sorry, guys. Last show. Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Hang up the hat.
Just kidding. Oh, we will see y'all next week. Josh, what are you doing next week?
Yeah, I'm not doing too much next week, honestly. I got some personal stuff on Wednesday. I'm doing some music stuff for my church, so I'm taking that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably riff on do a little bit more. I still haven't touched my 3D printer that much, so maybe that too.
I touch it a lot. It's sitting right beside me, so I can just reach over and touch it. But I've not printed.
I can too. See,
with it.
There you go. What about you? What are you doing?
Okay, so I've got 3 things that is outside of work. One, I'm gonna make a logo for our house. Allie's been begging for this, and I've not been doing the best job of actually getting it done. So I'm gonna get it done. She wants like a house logo to like print on like styrofoam cups or like napkins or like greeting cards or thank you cards or like something like this is the king brand, king kind of thing.
Dumb.
And so I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be for our house. It's gonna be like a outline version of our house. It's like a very mid-century modern, like flat, wide, cool house. So I'm gonna do that. And then I've got a secret project, new design project, and I'll share a little bit more about it next week.
Ooh, okay.
But working on a project for a friend of the show, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's a new medium that I've not really done before. So we're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. And then the final thing is I am going to finally get started on a 3D printing project. This one probably won't happen, but like I'm starting to like hone in on like a project that I want to do.
Okay.
Because the 3D printer is very loud.
Yeah.
So like if it's printing during the day, great. But this is like right here beside all the bedrooms. So I want to get like a rolling cart.
Okay, there you go.
With like custom drawers and everything to where the 3D printer can go on the cart and sit by my desk. And then if I want to print something in the afternoon or overnight, then I can roll the cart to like the other side of the house temporarily to like
plug it in and go.
And then bring it back afterwards kind of thing. So I think that's going to be my first project. I have some ideas around like some like aluminum type of like I don't remember what they're called. T-channel, I think. T-channel aluminum and like plastic crates and some 3D printed drawer faces that I think will be really fun.
There you go.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I love it. Until next week then.
Thank y'all for joining us. Hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week on Riff and Refine.
See you.